Hello, everyone. Welcome to Quest Unplayed. Quest Unplayed is where three gamers talk about everything and anything about gaming and have fun together. I am George, the co-host of Quest Unplayed, and this quest is joined by Anthony,
Hello, everyone.
Zach,
Hi.
and we indeed have another guest, John.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome. I'm excited to talk about John's game and all. But before we start, this podcast is sponsored by Minimap, your ultimate gaming hub and a gaming companion app. Sync your game accounts, make your own game collection, connect with other gamers in our community, and do whatever, anything, everything about gaming. And we're going to listen to that warm-up sponsor song. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
You have a great life,
I-
man.
Yeah,
I'm in pain.
Yeah, actually, Anthony was having a neck problem because
Oh,
from playing a lot of VR games, right?
yeah.
Which
Were
one
you
were
playing
you
a lot
playing?
of the new Batman?
I was actually.
Nice.
Was that why?
Yeah, I love it.
Nice. And I remember like watching Anthony's stream, and then like he just he just left it on and fell asleep, right?
Yeah, pretty
was-
much.
Anthony had a very tiring weekend. So
Hey, I've done it before too. I actually, let's see, what is it? I played, I think it was Destiny, and I did a raid with my friends. It was like 1 a.m. I fell asleep because
Wow.
we were waiting for them. We were waiting for the new raid to come up, and they were all calling me, and I'm like, all they hear was me snoring on the headphones. I'm like, okay.
I've seen that
Typical
before.
healer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have that happen all the time, but I've never been streaming during it, you know.
yeah, how
Yeah.
did the raid go? Like that raid?
He doesn't remember.
I don't remember. I got kicked out.
But the next day, like, hey, did I win? This is
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. All
what
right.
were you playing? Were you playing Guardian or what is it? Was it Guardian, Hunter, or what else?
You mean
Wizard?
the Titan?
Titan, yeah. You're playing the
Yeah.
Titan? All right.
Yeah, I remember that.
All
It
right,
was
back
fun
in the
time,
day.
but yeah.
cool. All right.
I
So,
lost.
yeah.
Okay.
Before we actually go on, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the game, John?
Definitely. My name's Jahan. I am the solo developer for Dungeons and Ducklings. It's just a modern take on Pacman. You know, I see so many roguelikes that are just bullet hells and kind of your typical mob grinding one. So I wanted to just do a unique take on it and kind of bridge the gap between older gamers that grew up in the arcade putting quarters in with, you know, new gamers that just love those modern roguelites that just, you know, give you that addicting content, makes you keep going.
Okay.
No, that's.
I like that.
Yeah, I actually do like the.
And now I gotta take some questions off the list I put on.
I did notice one thing. Roguelikes are getting very popular these days.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, part of it, I think, is because, like, as an indie dev, it gives you more hours of content in your game if you can have, you know, something that is procedurally generated and keep going. So it avoids me having a game that's under 2 hours that someone could beat and just return to Steam before that hits that 2 hour mark. But
Mhm.
man, roguelites are just, God, they're addicting. You just want to do one more run. It's that classic, yeah, it's getting late and I'm just doing one more turn, one more run.
One more run, Ma.
Yeah, I'm not going to bed yet.
Yeah, like they're like you realize it's like
Well,
4
well-
a.m. and then
Well, it's also what I had that vibe with you back in the days. It's like, oh, you put 1 quarter in and you lost all life. Where's that extra quarter? I need to put more life in.
Exactly.
that too. All right, awesome. So we'll talk more about the game, Dungeons and Ducklings, and then. But before, let's take our traditional gamer type quiz.
All
Are you
right.
ready for this, John?
I'm ready to be tested. I think I'm going to pass.
All right. All right. It's finally the weekend after a long, tiring week. You ask friends to play a video game together, or you need game time alone.
Top one. Let's play some games with friends.
Nice. The new game that just released isn't my type, but a friend is urging me to play with. It's not my cup of tea, so you refuse, but you actually end up playing together, or you listen to your friend's words right away and play it together.
God, that's a tough one. I think I go with the top one. I'm pretty critical of the games that are coming out. I'm keeping a good ear to the ground. It's
Nice.
usually rare I'm not sure about something that's coming out, so I'll say that top one.
Awesome. You're thinking about joining a community with strict terms to get game information. First, from self-introduction to attendance checks, that's too much. Or if it has good information, you just follow the rules.
Ranked over 3 days is no problem. The bottom one. Let's go. It has good information, so getting ranked up after 3 days is no problem.
All right. Before you buy a game, you carefully read over the other people's reviews, watch the trailer, check the price, or if the game looks interesting, you trust your gut and instinct and make a purchase.
I go with that top one. I'm pretty watching that news, watching reviews, some skill up, or whatever else is on there.
Nice. If someone is watching me playing a game from behind, it's the perfect opportunity to show my amazing gameplay, or I'm actually good at it, but due to pressure, I'm missing skill shots.
I'm missing skill shots left and right. There's no way.
Yeah, that's actually me too. You're playing a newly released game for the first time. Rather than having regrets later on about missing something, you go over the tutorial, or you skip the tutorial because the game seems to be similar to the one you've played before.
I'm a notorious tutorial skipper, and then I'm like, why don't I know something? And I have to Google it later. So yeah, definitely skipping that tutorial.
You're playing a mystery-solving game. Based on years of experience in your mystery-solving games, that guy is a culprit. Or even though that person looks suspicious, you need to start collecting evidence first.
Oh, I got to go with my gut. That guy's the culprit up top, number one.
Nice. In order to equip the rune that increases defense by 0.01%, you have to return to the lobby. That's not a big difference, and your friends are waiting, so you just go, or you have to go back to the lobby and equip the rune.
First one. Numbers don't do much for me, especially small numbers. I'm not hunting the next +1. I'm looking for fun. A new game with friends.
During gameplay, your companion's character has been bitten by a zombie. You might be able to find the cure, so you decide to accompany them, or everyone in my group can get infected, so you choose to kill them, even though it is tragic.
I got to try to find that cure. No one left behind. If it gets too far, you got to put them down, but I got to try.
Even if you don't express it, you feel like you keep losing because of your friend. Are they not feeling well? You lift up your friend's spirit, or you send them a link to characters' tips and tricks.
First one. Let's get some joking in, get the pressure off the game, just have some fun.
Yeah. The character has bad performance, but the appearance is totally my type. Considering the balance of my party, I cannot put them in my party, or I have to put my favorite character in the party no matter the cost.
No matter the cost. I have to have the good-looking characters. Dark Souls, I play Fashion Souls. It's got to look nice.
Nice. Your current desktop is messy with tons of icons, but it does not affect your gameplay. Or you hate chaotic things, your best desktop is neatly clean.
I have a clean and organized desktop, that bottom one.
Before getting into the game, I searched the internet just in case you end up missing achievements, or I have never played a game for the achievements.
My achievement days are behind me. I think it comes with age. The bottom one, I'm done with the achievements, but there was a time where I'd look them up.
Last one, who happens to play lots of games. You play a game you feel like playing at the moment from your collection, or you have a gaming schedule.
I'd say the top one. I play what I feel like in the moment, but I do like finishing a game. So usually if I'm playing something, I'm seeing it through to the end.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. Cat results.
All right. You are a trustworthy guardian.
Oh, that I take that to heart. And like MMOs and stuff, a healer or tank is usually the role for me.
Yeah. So you are a stubborn, natural-born leader, quick-witted, and you say you need something. Here, take it. You give it away to your teammates. You like to play games with people, but you don't enjoy competition. Are these ringing a bell?
I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I'm definitely over competitive PvP games. I love games like Deep Rock Galactic where you're working together with a crew.
Love that game.
Yes,
I
yes.
love if I'm playing Civ 6, I usually have 3 of us on one team together. We're against the world. I like cooperative games.
Nice. So you win, team wins. Or winning. Team winning is better than you winning.
True, yeah. Hmm.
So then you get distracted. Like, wait, what happens if I click this? Oh, wait, what happens if I talk to this NPC?
I'm definitely the one that has to explore every cave.
Nice.
Just give me a minute while I look in this corner that's a dead end.
All right. You thrive on teamwork. Yeah, you just said that. Strong leadership. I wish you have more than 2 years because you have to listen to everyone in your team.
No, definitely. Yep.
As a team's guardian, they're always there to mediate conflicts and keep the squad united.
Oh, definitely. Some nice jokes and laughter keeps everybody united in a game.
Awesome. Oh, nice. I think I don't think we've had a trustworthy guardian before, have we?
That's the first one I think I've seen, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, you're the
Get like
first.
backstabbing guardian, conniving guardian.
No. And I think you're the first person to actually said that my desktop is neat. Like everyone else is like,
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe that's what makes you the trustworthy guardian.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking
That's
too.
it.
Yeah,
I said the
'cause,
exact opposite, but most of the same stuff. And I was whatever that hot-headed fighter dude is. So clearly, it's the desktop.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of people are like, yeah, my desktop is usually neat, but now, and they're like, it's messy now. And then you're like, confidently said, nope, it's neat. Very neat.
I look over, I have one column, and if it gets past that, it goes into folders and it's organized.
Yeah, sometimes I just want to erase my whole computer just so I can start over again. There's just so much stuff on
But
there. I'm
you'll
like,
end up in the same place though. Like that's what happens to mine.
yeah, exactly.
The cycle of life.
So John, is there like like how those in mobile apps you get like those notification like red ones, like the numbers. Do you hate those?
I absolutely hate them. Yeah. I turn them all off. I can't deal with it. I've uninstalled games where I couldn't figure out how to turn the notifications off.
Oh, I hate that too. Oh my God.
I hate those.
And then when you go in because you think it's going to be something worth going in for, and it's like, hey, there's this new $20 package, and I'm like, it's not free. I don't want it.
Yeah.
The only mobile game that could pull me in like that would be like Balatros. It's like, hey, one more hand of Balatro. I got to hop back in. That game's too good.
Yeah. So Balatro is going to win it? Game of the year?
It's not going to win, but I love that it's nominated. I think it deserves it so much to be nominated, at least get that recognition. It's such a genius, it's one of those games where you play it and you're like, how did nobody think of this before? How has this not been invented 20 years ago? Like, it's so smart.
Who did this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I read it somewhere. Like the dev local thug. He wrote like when I started developing this game, a lot of people said this is like a stupid card game or something, and then he just believed what he had in mind, and then he kept going, and then it turned out to be like I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say like one of the greatest games that was launched this year, at least.
Yeah, definitely. I think as a dev, you have to believe in yourself more than anybody else. So I'm glad that he stuck with it. He believed in himself because I have countless hours in that game now.
Yeah.
Nice.
That game is pretty addicting. Even once you start, there's no going back. So
Yeah.
Maybe I might win next year. Maybe.
It's I waited till it came out on mobile, which makes it extra dangerous in my mind because like any bathroom break, you're playing a hand of Blanco. It takes 15 minutes at least. It's great on the phone.
Yeah, it's more like any work break. You have to like make your own break time to actually work because your like main thing becomes velocity. You can't stop it.
Definitely.
But, all right. Speaking of which, let's jump to our first waypoint, the bulletin board waypoint. This is where we talk about the weekly game chronicles, whatever happened this week. And the first news that we want to talk about is that Nintendo eShop is in China is going to be done. It's going to be gone in 2026.
Yeah, that actually has an official date, May
Yeah,
15th.
they even have a date, so that they're dead serious. Then
Man.
it's
Well,
not like
yeah,
a movie.
they actually said that they are players when unable to redeem Switch codes and DLC, and any network-related services will no longer be available.
Wow.
And why are they making this move? Well, yeah, what's going on with
I
that?
I don't know. I don't know. So first thing I know is Nintendo partnered up with Tencent to bring
Mm.
console to China in 2019.
Hmm.
So and then like now China is like the largest is like the well before China I think Russia also Nintendo shut down Russia as well the eShop because of their war with the Ukraine.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So I don't know what China reason is behind it. I think it's because of Tencent or something partnership with Tencent.
Mm, but
But they did also announce that Nintendo says that even though they're announcing, they are offering Chinese Switch owners up to 4 free games that can be redeemed between now to March 31st of 2026, which includes all the first party games of Nintendo's.
Oh,
So you could choose 4 free ones.
Well, that's nice of them.
yeah,
little
Uh,
consolation prize, I guess. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
yeah,
mhm.
Like, we're sorry you live in China. Here's 4 free games.
yeah.
If I
Have fun.
was Russia or Putin and they took away the eShop, that'd be peace. I'd end the war right there. Hey, we need that eShop back.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta play.
Listen, guys,
do
that might
a-
have been a little rough.
Yeah.
So actually, I just thought of something too. We were was talking about it. As far as in the whole eShop thing and stuff with Nintendo and China, does China have how was I going to say it? It just popped out of my head right when I was about to say it. I was literally thinking about it. You know what? Come back to me in a second. Literally had something in my head and it just popped out
Yeah,
when we were talking about it.
It's okay because Zach is not in his best state right now in his health.
Not the
But
COVID.
no,
Yeah,
but we do
has.
know that Tencent is like one of the largest publishers in the world
It is.
at this moment.
Yes.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say, dude. Is China the one thing I was wondering is it illegal or do you get in trouble for using a VPN in China?
Probably.
Yes, actually, I think you do. Yes,
Yes,
Okay.
probably. The government is not going to like. You know how the serious the government is in
V-
China.
they would not. They would
Yeah,
not
I
let
do.
VPN.
They got cameras and
They
they
would not
watch
even
what you
let
do.
VPN, and they
And
would
didn't-
never.
Didn't a while ago China they wouldn't allow World of Warcraft for a bit. There was something with a deal with Blizzard. I don't quite remember, but I wonder if that's kind of involved because
Well-
Blizzard and Tencent are both
Was
working
it
together.
Was it because I think there's a I don't know if this is like the related instant, but like there was like in like one of those Hearthstone competitions, the winner of the competition said something about like Taiwan, whatever, and then Chinese got mad, and then they pulled out like I don't know, they stopped something. I know that like
Wow,
I remember
okay.
that. Yeah, he said free Hong Kong, I believe. or
yeah,
he
free
said
Hong Kong,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
and then Blizzard cracked down on that. That was actually I played World of Warcraft when I was young, like classic, and then I came back for Wrath of Lich King. And right at that time, they came out with World of
That was
Warcraft
good one.
Classic, and I was into it. I was going hard, and then that happened, and
Classic. Yeah.
I was out of Classic. It just kind of turned me off of Blizzard. I was like, no thanks. I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
You always wonder why some games are available in some countries and some games are not ever available.
Well, it
And
depends
you
on
thought
yeah.
you always thought like games should just be fun for everybody. Just enjoy.
Weren't
Yeah,
we
I think
talking to somebody? One of the devs was talking about how like they couldn't develop in their country because there's a skeleton in their game or something like that. And
Interesting.
it was a China or something like that doesn't like skeletons or like in their
Hmm.
games or something like that.
I don't. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about, honestly.
Yeah,
Because
like-
one thing when I was a mobile when I did a lot of mobile gaming and content, I know that India they're not allowed to play any Chinese mobile games. So they're completely cut from their market. So they make their own MMOs there, or their MOBAs and stuff to play, and then they don't even bring them to America sometimes. So
And that's actually
you'd
pretty
be
funny because you
surprised.
think about it. If they decide to make their own game, and then it looks like a game that is out there already in somewhere other world, and they're gonna say, "You copy out from me. We didn't copy. We just didn't know your game existed."
Yeah, no, yeah, that's because they're. If you ever look up the market, India and
Yeah.
China, of course, are the biggest countries, right?
Yeah.
Population wise,
population.
they have the most when it comes to mobile gamers. So like they're constantly, because they don't like each other, so they're like, you can't have their stuff, and they're like, okay, I guess whatever, don't hurt me.
And I think recently the Black Ops, or was it Black Ops or Stalker? I don't remember. Like one of those games was gonna be banned in. I think it was like in.
Oh, I mean, well, Call of Duty games always get banned in so many
Yeah,
countries.
because of the terrorism, whatever the ideology, or supporting that, whatever, or showing that at least, I guess, not supporting.
They always get banned. It's just that it's just.
So, I don't know. I don't know. Like it feels like games should be also considered as like form of like art in a way.
Yeah.
Creative arts, like not take it as like some kind of propaganda or some kind of ways to kind of like try to brainwash anyone or anything. Like just like game is game. They're like in movies too. Like it's kind of like.
I mean, if you think about it, right? If you kind of dive into some art, actually is you can't have some art in some countries and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the craziest is if you think about if you have a country that's pretty liberal about what games you can have and play versus a country that doesn't have that. You imagine growing up and not even knowing like Pacman exists or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you go to a country that lets you play it. Like
that's
something to kind of like, it makes you think, like one thing is you could play that one game where you run around. It's a first person shooter. It's like Doom, but it's against Nazis.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein, yeah.
You could play that in Germany, but all the swastikas are taken out because there's no swastikas allowed in Germany.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's when games get censored a lot.
Yeah, you can't say Nazi either there, so that's all taken out as well because it's illegal to say it there. So that's crazy, the censorship level in different countries. And being a developer and navigating that.
I think recently there was a case in Korea. I know, there was a petition because like in Korea, censorship in gaming is kind of serious, I guess, like compared to other countries. Like, for example, if you're allowed to play the same game in the States, like no problem, but that in Korea it's like X-rated or something, just because they have a little bit of like gambling content in it or whatever. And then there was like a petition for that, like why not like lift these stupid censorship. And like I know the agency or government agency, whatever, in Korea, they have no idea, like they're like old dudes who has like no idea like what games are, like they don't. They're the ones making decisions, and then they're like
they're traditional.
Yeah,
I think that's every government. Old people are like, I don't like that.
Yeah, like
their game was pushing a hoop with a stick. That's all they ever played.
You know what?
Whatever happened to good old fashioned marbles?
Just put them in front of Stellar Blade. That's about it.
But you bring up a good point with that the gambling, because I know like a lot of countries, Australia is pretty strict on that too. If there's any kind of loot boxes that you can pay for, like. And, I'm torn on that. Part of me is pretty happy about that. I was tired of the trend of big corporations being like, let's get all these kids games out there where we want to get them addicted to pay $5 more for the loot box.
That's 100%. I heard a really good statement the other day on a movie that was like, if the product's free, then you're probably the product.
Yeah, I think, that's
a great statement.
That's how like Facebook or all these social media companies and platforms, I know you're the product because they're selling ads to you.
Yeah, and they get all your information and they sell it off to people.
Yep. They're extracting all of your data.
That could be a whole test.
And I think I think I wrote this on our newsletter, but in Australia you can't make social media accounts anymore if you're under 16.
I think they're doing that in America too.
Yeah.
Not 16, but I think I know in Texas they've got it to where kids under the age of 13 or something like that can't make social media accounts.
Okay.
They're
And I
putting
guess
in
kind of
the loss.
what you're saying with like the free things, like Facebook's been free for so long because they're just taking in all that information and selling it to company. You're the product, as you were
Yes.
saying with Facebook and other social media.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you think about free games, right? That's one of the best models. Because if people come in and they love your stuff, especially if it's a competitive model like Fortnite, any of those games, right? And you're enjoying it, League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, I love this character. This game's so much fun. I could play for hours, but my guy looks a little. I need to
Meh.
give this guy some juice. And so you juice them up a bit, and you're like $30 down. They're like, bro, you just bought
Yeah,
a skin for $30. You're like, but he looks cool. He looks cool.
it does look cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
And I know for like League of Legends with like huge fan base, with the professional teams. I know they have the winner of the world championship. They get like their own skins.
oh yeah.
So
That's right.
so this year SKT won. So like a lot of people are gonna spend hundreds of dollars in Faker skin. We know that for sure. So
I
that's
mean,
I hope
Well,
that
that's-
team gets like a percentage of those sales.
yes they do. Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
it depends on the model too. So that's literally that could be a whole thing itself. But Blizzard's actually really bad about that. But they do the same thing with Overwatch. They would do end of the year. They'd make a skin for like the best player.
yeah.
And I know the year that wasn't actually expensive. It was only $20, but I shelled out was the best player in the world was really good at a robot that throws the balls. I can't remember his name anymore, but he had like an octopus for a head, like inside of a little. I was like, I gotta get it. Like I was so excited.
You have to get it.
But they
Yeah,
actually-
right? Yeah.
But actually, Blizzard gets all the money. They don't distribute it out to the teams.
Oh,
No.
in that case,
Yeah.
it's
It's kind of
It's
a
dirty.
bad model.
I mean, it's always.
I don't
the
know.
same.
League of Legends is a whole different thing, though.
yeah. I think League of Legends was criticized because they had their first, the legend, like the first legend of the League of Legend. Like the nominee was Faker was the first one to get nominated for that, and then they made like a special skin for him. But then the skin itself was like $400 or something if you want to buy the whole package. And then the people are like, "What? Like you guys just want so much money out of these?" Or I don't. I might be mistaken with the number, but like it was ridiculous amount of money. And then
No,
like,
it sounds about right.
yeah,
Yeah.
then the
About 10
Faker
games
fans,
for that.
yeah,
Jeez.
like so
Was-
mad.
That wasn't
I
the
mean-
one that ran around the team around their base and kept everybody alive, was it? The very first one? I'm trying to remember who that was.
For League of
Remember
Legends.
the guy that ran around the base? I can't remember the name of it now. At the end of the thing, and then won the match. But everybody, he was against the whole team, and everybody's like, "There's no way that he would have done that." It was on the League of Legends movie.
I don't remember that one.
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't. But
Yeah,
okay.
let's just forget that ever happened. Let's continue, please.
All right. So,
Let's cut that out of edit. Thank you.
But
Fix and post.
skins do get expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
remember how I think it was like last month, World of Warcraft introduced the $90 mount.
Yep. It's wild to me that like the value of the game is worth less than this one skin they made in the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy.
and like most of like the people who actually buy those are probably like teenagers or in their early 20s. Like they just get their money. From
Or
their
they
parents.
just hardcore gamers.
Or
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that
hardcore,
too. That
yeah.
too, obviously. But like there are a lot of teenagers who spend money,
Yeah.
but then it's
I-
probably coming straight from their parents' wallet. So
I'd be surprised how
Yeah.
many of them are 35, 45-year-olds that are just like, well, I got nothing else going for me. I'm talking about myself, but
So some people have like every mount in the game, and when the new one comes out, they need it because they
Yeah.
want it for their collection.
I've had every mount. You know what actually is probably one of the ones that was highly criticized at first too when it came out is you guys remember Counter-Strike, when people used to make the skins for Counter-Strikes and they had the whole market for it where people could put in, they make the skin for the gun and then people would have to bid on buying the
Yeah.
skins.
Yeah.
Some of them
Yeah, I think
skins would sell for like thousands and thousands of dollars just for a
Makes me
gun
think
skin.
of like Team Fortress 2 hats as well. Some of those got expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, skins in games are their profit for, I guess.
Digital currency,
yeah. All right.
making that artist some money,
They have to.
So-
hopefully.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this, and if you're in China, the Nintendo eShop will be lifted into the 2026. So keep that in mind. So moving
And
on
thank
to
you for listening.
okay. And the second one we wanted to cover. Oh, not this. Sorry. The second one we wanted to cover was the GOG, right? The GOG expands their
Yeah.
preservation program to protect the listed
I love
games.
GOG.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
GOG started it because they want to preserve games. That's the whole reason GOG started in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But yeah, they're definitely expanding it. They're putting more and more games on them because a recent study actually said, what is it? All games released before 2010 are not accessible on modern computers.
Wow.
Uh,
Mm.
Holy
Because
Must,
you know
crap.
how you know how computers always time gets updated, the newest
Right.
graphics cards.
Yeah.
That's true.
Can't play by bad dudes on the computer.
Yeah. Some of the, and I remember, like, did you ever remember, like, the pinball they used to give out for the old computers, the Windows?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
I
I
used
can't
to
remember the
love
name of
those
it.
games.
Yeah.
The actual
Pinball
pinball.
games are dope.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Pinball's games are though.
I actually
Yeah.
like playing pinball in real life. Like if I had to get a physical copy, I would get pinball. I used to love playing
Mhm.
pinball as a
So,
It's
kid.
like the engineering that goes into a real pinball machine as well. It's just like mind-boggling. And like
yeah.
what they accomplish is insane.
You get so excited, you're like, just like
And then
sweat.
But then when they do the collaboration with like all these like Jurassic Park, Star
Yes.
Wars, and
Yes.
putting on that, it's like so cool. It makes you want to play it.
Yeah.
There was a pinball game on Nintendo, and it just like I could play forever. Like you literally was like a machine in space, and just everything was just so beautiful. Like you would hit certain things to defeat the bosses. It was like a chick's rib cage, and everything was glowing. It was all robotic and sci-fi. I was like, this is so cool. Like I could play for hours, and I realized this is not a real pinball machine because then you'd be trying to rock it, you're like, getting it in there. But I miss
Yeah.
those days. Multi-ball, like just
So,
sweating.
so I guess it's kind of like, I guess, sad to kind of like go let go of these old games that like only exist in our memories to like fade away and like be gone forever. Obviously, like after like a couple generations, they won't be like forgotten forever. Like
No,
So
Well,
And
I think that's a good. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, gentlemen. I apologize. I was thinking, that I think that's another reason why you see retro games are becoming so prevalent now, especially with the indie movement and stuff. Because a lot of people. I was watching Pixels the other day. We talk about this movie all the time, but I was sick and I quarantined in my bedroom, and I pulled up old Adam Sandler's Pixel movies, and I was like,
the
man,
Sandman.
I
Yep.
miss those days of playing. And that was actually after playing your demo. I was like, hey, I remember some of these moves. I started getting into it. But just playing the Pixel or watching the Pixel movie and stuff and thinking about it, like they're like even Oregon Trail. Like I used to love Oregon Trail when I was a kid on the computer, right? And
Mhm.
literally just making decisions and writing people's names on stones so they get dysentery and then trying to float the Snake River. But that's actually a browser game now, which I think it's kind of cool that people are going about the steps that they don't want to lose that stuff. And there's people that want to hold on to that because there's still a real, like, yeah, there's new games have a lot of different options. There's a lot to do for it. But you look back at some of them old games and you think about the timing, the movements in between fighting, the enemies like Galaga, stuff like that, where you're moving around. You don't really get that much humor. You don't get into the zone like you used to with those games as you do now.
Yeah.
that's true.
When games start to kind of fade away like that, do you guys think like that's when things like ROMs and emulation is acceptable? Like once a company no longer cares about their product in a way, they just let it go to time. You can't buy it anymore.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty
Because
much.
and then maybe like it can kind of like catch up, and maybe the company can like resurrect or come back to life, and then like start making
That's
people or whatever collaboration at least.
just don't touch Nintendo games, or they're gonna
Yeah.
shut you down.
Nintendo will come after you.
Nintendo has big
I guarantee Nintendo has every game in a vault somewhere where they're like, no, like we'll
Yeah.
never
So
lose
funny
it.
thing is, Blizzard brought back the first Warcraft games, the original Warcrafts. Remember?
Oh yeah, I think.
But then they told GOG to delist the games from this site by December 13th.
Didn't GOG haven't they told them they're not going to do it? Right? Is that what's
No,
going on
no,
right
no.
now?
They said they'll do it, but they'll let people who purchase it to keep playing it still through this site.
Oh, awesome!
But they'll do
I mean,
the delisting. But then
Uh,
again, the game also is now is on Blizzard Battle.net
yes.
as well.
I think. Yeah, I think I saw a video of someone playing that. They say like this is real nice. Like,
Oh yeah,
they,
I mean,
they
hey,
yeah.
I purchased it also.
I
Nice.
knew it. I knew it right away. I'm like,
That's what started Warcraft for me. Warcraft 1 and
With-
2.
1 and 2. Okay, I got into it at
Yeah.
3. Warcraft 3 was my first one.
Whenever you
Yeah.
guys say
Warcraft 3 is good.
Warcraft 1, I just think about the humans chopping trees and then orcs murdering me. Like right away.
work.
I'm like, what are those green things? I'm like, no, yeah, work.
Work.
I was like, what? So you just murdered me.
yeah, that
I
was
mean, those
sweet.
voices are classics.
Oh yeah. Well, that was, and that was one thing too about those games is, did you ever click on a character too much on StarCraft and stuff? Like StarCraft,
Yeah.
Yes,
you're
yeah,
like,
even the
what do
first
you
one,
want? I'm busy. Yeah.
It's like the same lines over and over.
no, but then,
Well,
but
if
then
you
there's
click
like
on,
a Easter.
some of them,
Yeah.
they have an Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly.
like,
Yeah,
stop
they
poking
a
me.
couple of them at Easter eggs, and then I know like Seas
Yeah.
Tank, he starts singing something.
Yep.
I know that.
And then the
that's
the
great.
pilots of the single unit pilots, can't remember what their name anymore, but the ones that would go invisible, they'd be like, I think he's lost his mind. Like, like, what do you want?
yeah. So just FYI, we're gonna have the StarCraft online competition between three of us next year.
I'm
when
waiting
we
for
meet.
that.
That's
Yes,
unfair.
Like,
when we meet in Texas.
I mean,
I'm
StarCraft is
sweating.
like Game Pass now. Come on.
Sweating.
Like you have no reason to not play it now.
yeah.
Gotta get that APM up, those actions per minute,
Yeah.
training.
I'm
Yes.
gonna die.
Yeah.
That was the one. StarCraft 2 was the one I'd say the most competitive I ever got on a game was StarCraft 2. That one was big for me. But God, I loved RTS's Command and Conquer, StarCraft
Yeah.
1.
Oh man,
Ooh.
Command and Conquer. That was.
Yeah.
I feel like that was
Command and
well.
Conquer.
The first one I ever played was Dune on Sega Genesis, like the old. I don't know if you guys ever seen the RTS, the Dune RTS on
Oh.
Sega Genesis.
No.
I only
really-
know about it because they're making more Dune games now.
But yeah, it's
They
old.
are.
No, trust me, it's old. It's like 16-bit or 32-bit, like going out getting spice. Hopefully, you can make it back in time before somebody destroys your base. It was pretty dope.
It is.
The Spec Ops guy too in Command and Conquer forever will live in my memory. Where he just had a gun, a silencer. He could just take out like a whole field of people. I love that guy.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So I guess the GOG move is, I guess, kind of like good for the gaming community, or is it? What do you think? It's like a very
Yeah.
definitely right.
It kind
I
of
think
Overall,
you
very
kind of-
positive. Yeah.
Yes.
I've-
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like anytime you lose any of that stuff, though, you're definitely losing a little bit of history. No matter
Yeah.
what, how you look at it,
Mhm.
like there's a lot of history in video game making, right? Especially from the beginnings. Like,
Yeah.
Atari's still kind of going strong, and they're dropping like new old
Oh yeah.
equipment for some odd reason.
They dropped all the water coaster tycoons all came out.
Yeah,
just
but
did.
they also just dropped a whole new console. New,
Oh yeah.
new old.
Yeah.
It's based off their like 3800 or whatever, but it's got all the old games in it. But also, you got to look back at some of the stuff like the arcade games, and like there was actually a console before Atari that made cartridges, and the guy who first came up with cartridges nobody knew was like African American. He ended up dying. He got no credit for it. So there's just
sad.
so much history in gaming.
Mm,
There should be a gaming history museum.
yeah.
I'll
Atari
work there.
preserved all those ET cartridges underground for 30 years.
Yeah, because they would nobody played them. Hey,
I think a lot of-
I was gonna say I had that game and I could not understand what I was like. What am I doing? What is happening? This is the worst game ever.
I think GOG overall very positive for gaming. A lot of people don't realize that even like on Steam and stuff, you don't technically own any of those games. You're just buying a license for it.
Yes.
So like,
Yes.
worst case scenario, Steam won't do this for a long, long time. Would be they they're done and they shut down. You lose every game you bought. And so,
or
my
or
library
they
out
get
there is
bought
massive.
up. Yeah.
Hmm
Yeah.
Yep.
This is why I like to collect physical games. Also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Now
and
A
you
lot
can
of
flex on us.
Yeah, true. You got a nice collection. A lot of physical games, more modern ones, are just like empty cases now, and you have to like download it, which I find dirty. I don't know.
yeah.
They have like
When I
a
bought
sheet
my
of
kids
paper.
first, yeah, I was. If I bought my kids' first Switch for them, like when it first came out, I got it for my boys, of course, and I went and I bought a Switch. You know, the game case is like this big, and I was like, "Oh man, how big's this game going to be?" I opened it up, and it was like that big. I was like, "Click, do not lose this. This goes right back into the case."
Yeah.
Those things are
Do,
tiny, man.
and do not lick it.
Do not like that. Don't do that.
Do not blow it. You know, like how we used to have those packs. We just have to blow it if it doesn't work. If there's like dust,
And you never
inside.
see it again.
Yeah.
By the way,
And then, like, where'd it go?
if you have Amazon Prime, I don't know if you have Twitch, but Dredge is free and Overcooked 2 is free on GOG right now.
I love Dredge. Great game. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
My friend told me about it. He always is like, "Hey man, go get you that game." I was like, I'm going.
Yeah.
It takes a solid like hour to two until you're like, oh, this game's great, but it's fantastic. And like when you go, you're like, oh, fishing and somehow horror, and then you're like, oh, I am scared. Actually, this is terrifying.
That fish is scary.
Oh yeah. So yeah, keep up the great work, GOG. Nice. All right. So I think we're ready to jump onto our main waypoint, the companion waypoint. This is where we meet John a little bit more. We have been talking with him for 40 minutes, but we're going to meet him again. Talk about his gaming journey and about his game. And before we do that, let's watch the trailer with music because the music here is awesome. Ready? Nice. Yeah.
Ready.
I'm ready.
I'll corrupt your petulant ducklings instead. I'ma turn you to a Mama Duck Jamala.
Welcome to Toby's Cafe.
Hello, Mama Duck.
15th. We gotta wait 10 more days almost. More.
Yeah, I've been ready for this rookie dev mistake. It's actually coming out on the 16th, but the trailer's already been uploaded. So a little unfortunate on that. I found out Steam doesn't let you release a game on a Sunday, so it had to get moved to Monday.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, they don't allow Sundays, so I had to move it one day.
They're like, this is not the day.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
They're
I
on
feel a little foolish about that, but oh well. You got to roll.
Did you put it in the community post like, dear people excited?
What about
for
Saturday? Just one day earlier.
They don't do any weekend, not Saturday or Sunday. It had to be Friday or Monday for at least indie games. They block off the weekends.
I didn't know that. Yeah, so for those of you who are indie devs, there's no Saturdays or Sundays for releasing your games, guys.
Learn a lesson from me, please.
No, that's
Does the training have to drop between 9 to 5 now?
Yeah. No, I think it comes out right away at the beginning. I'm hoping, like in my head, I'm like, oh, someone's time zone will be the 16th, so it's like kind of true.
It's gonna be my 16th at least.
Perfect.
I know.
Wow.
Nice. So yeah,
good lesson.
My first question is, who made this music? Because I'm about to go dancing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So it's actually an interesting story, but who made it was this pair of two guys, Richard Schallbetter and Mike. He goes by Specs, but they are kind of do this music academy in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And what it was 10 years ago, I tried to make my first indie game ever as a complete rookie, knew absolutely nothing. And I hired Richard to make the songs for that indie game. And I had a business partner at the time, and unfortunately, it kind of turned out sour, and some of the money disappeared a little bit, and it kind of killed my drive to make that game. And I was a little embarrassed. I didn't want to go to Richard and say, like, hey, it's not happening. Can I have my money back for the music I paid you for? So I just kind of was like, whatever, it's done. I'm done with this. And I didn't go back to gaming for almost a decade. And now I'm back. It's almost like completing something I've never been able to do before. And I just reached out to Richard because I knew he's still doing music, and asked him, like, hey, would you be interested in doing music for this game I'm doing? And he told me like that the time I paid him was such an important moment in his life to get that money that he was going to do my music for free for this game. And he just went all out on this music, and it's some of the best music I ever heard. And it really gets me bumping. I love the soundtrack, and it was just a nice little cap on, bringing something back from the past, and it all came to fruition for me. So, devs out there, if you failed a decade ago, you never know what's going to come back and work out for you in the future. So just keep trying, never give up.
Yes, and keep your network.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Don't burn bridges.
So, the music is definitely a productivity booster. It feels like I'm just gonna be jamming with this music while I work. Be like,
I used to, before I got that music in, I just kind of scoured the internet for royalty-free songs, and it got to the point where when I was programming, you got to test it thousands of times. I would be like, music 0, just turned it off, never had the music on. Now I can never turn it off. It's so good. I always have it on whenever I'm testing.
Yeah. Good job, Richard. I love it.
Yeah, good job, Richard.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Zach. I think you probably have a lot of questions.
Why is it always me has a lot of questions?
Okay,
Jeez.
Anthony too.
You seem like a very thoughtful person.
No, I was gonna say you already blew up one of my questions and so we, sometimes we do some pre-questions before you come on, and I was like, was Pac-Man any did you have any kind of Pac-Man influence? And you were like right away, I was like, I just want to do some Pac-Man stuff, but
Definitely,
I will say from watching the trailer, right? So I know from the demo you can only really beat up the Gator guy. Some of the characters are pretty interesting in the game. Was there how did you come up with forming Mama Duck and the Gator and all the other people that are waiting for us on December 15th or 16th when it comes out?
It's Monday.
Definitely. Well, originally, I think every dev kind of goes through this process of you're not, you don't know what you're doing until you can just sit down and recreate classic games by yourself without a tutorial. So this had to be the 10th classic game that I made. I was like, I'm just going to make Pac-Man this weekend. And I was working on Pac-Man, and all those things gosh, nobody has done anything with Pac-Man since it came out. This is it's Pac-Man and that's it. And so I really wanted to put a new spin on it. It was originally Dungeons and Doggos, and I found out that it's really hard to do pixel art for dogs because they have 4 legs, and my pixel art was I call it programmer art. So I was going through these 4 legs. I was like, oh my god, this looks terrible. I hate these. I really want to have these dogs in because all the games I made previously just for friends, and I always feature my friends' pets in it. The game before that, I had one of my best friends, the cat was the main character, and he was rescuing another cat, and I featured all the cats I knew. So I was feel a little guilty. All my friends had dogs as well, so I was I'm going to make a game all about dogs now. It's going to be Dungeons and Doggos, going to have all these dogs. I could not draw a dog to save my life, is what I found out, and I was like, ducks also starts with D, and a duck, it's that yellow circle. So it was kind of hearkening back to Pac-Man. It looks like Pac-Man. It's kind of that small, yellow, adorable circle, and much easier to make a duck for me personally. So that's where I went off that's where the ducks came into play. A lot of things just kind of come organically. I really wanted it to be house pets versus, Dungeons and Dragons' most notorious enemy, the Lich and his undead minion. I just thought that was hilarious that a house pet is fighting back zombies and skeletons. And yeah, you just over time, I'd started to develop lore for each character and just more bosses fit into place as the lore went. And now there's kind of a deep lore in the game that is just like a little side quest. You can kind of gather a bunch of pages and learn all about it. So you know, that's where it all came from. Just developing lore, playing Dungeons and Dragons, and failing with dogs along the way. You got to fail to succeed. So.
Yes.
Well, I'm happy you failed. I kind of like the ducks, to be honest with you.
Oh, they're so adorable. Yeah.
Plus, when you capture or when you save more ducks and you start to see them populate the house, you're like, all right, I'm a good mama duck. All right.
And it felt like so perfect having a trail of ducklings behind you as well. It's just like, oh, it's combining like snake in a way. Like you have this little snake of ducklings, and you know, in real life, the little ducklings are following behind mama duck.
That was awesome.
So like you said, you kind of gave up on developing game for about a decade. Like, what made you like come back to being a game dev?
I'd say at heart, I am an entertainer of sorts. After I was done with games, I went into music, and you know, behind me, you're going to see a drum set back there.
Yeah.
And before we started, I kind of joked I've been on Spotify before. I have had an album on Spotify with. I was in a rock and roll band together, so I've always loved creating something with my hands and seeing like the joy it can bring a random person. Even you know, indie rock band, you play shows for one person sometimes. They're the only one at the bar. And it's like, oh, it's great to just see, you know, one person get a little something out of something you made with your hands, get a little smile on their face. So, but what brought me back to gaming overall is I've always been obsessed with gaming. Like, it's like, even when I gave it up, I was like, man, I still really want to make a game. I still want to learn and program. When I was in grade school, my circle of nerd friends, our thing was we'd just walk up to each other and just go like, you wake up in a room, RPG, what do you do? And it was like basic Dungeons and Dragons. And be like, oh, I look around and be like, there's a dagger on the table. And like, I grab it. And like, we'd just be making this up off the top of our head, walking to lunch in grade school. So just, I've always been creating games, even as a dungeon master for D&D for like 15 years now. And, I wanted to bring it to the technical world. I wanted to program, wanted to finally see art come to life on the screen and see some people enjoy it.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that mentality. Like, you know, yeah, I guess like game devs are in a way like an entertainer as well, because they create joy out of all these people they play.
Here's the thing though, is you said you were a drummer and played music, but you got to get music made for the game.
Yeah. We were dirty rock and rollers. We were dirty rock and rollers was our band, and we just, I mean, like going into a computer and programming the music, it was like, oh, this is way beyond what I hit the thing with the stick. All right, there's not much more to it than that. And just
could have just invite your friends over, be like, hey guys, let's have a jam sesh. No words though. Don't say any words.
Richard and Mike just they could bring music to life like nobody else I've ever heard. It's great. Yeah.
I just thought, you know, because I know a lot of people when they get musical, like that's their brain just stays music. So that probably helped you a little bit with you know, deving too, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think I at least have an ear for finding like good sound effects that are royalty free. Or before I got the music, I still had some songs that I thought were bangers that were royalty free. So it's, at least it gave me the ear to find some good sound effects, tunes, balance audio in the game itself. So it's definitely helped in ways you don't expect. Everything you kind of go through comes together on what you're working on, I feel like.
And did you find, how did you find the voices for the characters?
Oh, okay. So I do one of the voices. So I do a cameo myself for the panda bear, but all the other voices done by one other guy. And he's incredible. He's got a stream called Mist TV, MIST TV. And what happened? So I was in a band, and then COVID happened, and COVID, you know, killed the music scene everywhere. We got to be inside. And you know, as like an entertainer at heart, and knowing that like all my friends are scattered, we're not able to see each other, I created a new a game streaming network where every Friday we'd get together. I had one roommate. we'd drink some beers, play some games together, and it was kind of uniting my friends. And he was just a fan of the stream, and he'd come in all the time. The guy who does the voices, Miss TV, and we just started playing games with him. And he was just such a kind individual who has always been working on his own voice work and doing voice work for YouTube videos, for all these other things. And he was like, oh, it's a dream of mine to get my voice in a game. I was like, I gotta go. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. So he lended me his voice talents, and it's fantastic. You can't even tell it's one person sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so I'm guessing he's the Gator.
He is the Gator. Yep.
I love that voice.
He's everybody but the panda.
I was digging the voice when he was like, "Oh my mama duck by you." I was like, "Oh God, I love this."
I sent him a clip from this reality TV show called Swamp People, and I was like, I kind of want this, but I want people to not understand what you're saying. Like, just make sure the words don't sound good. Like
that makes sense.
And he nailed it. Yeah,
I heard jambalaya, Mama Duck jambalaya in there. I heard that.
You got that. That's the important part.
I was like, you're not making no soup out of Mama Duck.
I'm glad it inspired passion in you to fight back against that Gator.
Even though I had to figure out how to do it first. I was like, wait, I got to fill up the ability before I can shoot. And what the heck?
Yeah, it's an interesting, telling gamers what to do and letting them learn things. It's an interesting, gap on what I should be saying and what I shouldn't be saying in a game. Because nobody wants those constant, blah, you hit A now, hit A, every 5 seconds telling you what to do. So, I think at least with the simplicity of it being Pac-Man and only having one more button than normal Pac-Man, a lot of people are able to hop in. I've seen 5-year-old kids literally hop in and learn in 25 minutes how to play this game and beat the boss. So I think I got to a good balance level on what to tell people and what to have people learn naturally.
So how many levels is the game's gonna have when it's fully released?
Oh, definitely. So right now, so it's going to have 4 zones in total, but kind of the gimmick is once you beat a boss in a zone and you're going back through the roguelite again, that zone changes. So only until you beat that first boss, it's going to be the same every time. And then once you beat it, the zone's different every time you're going through it. It's going to have a different color palette, kind of different difficulty, new traps in there. The boss has some additional tricks as well. So I got 4 zones with 4 just gorgeous pixel art bosses that I got commissioned from a wonderful artist on Reddit. And every time you go through, it's going to be changing when you beat those bosses to kind of add to that replayability.
It's pretty sweet. So why Bear Belly Games?
Bear Belly Games. A couple of different reasons for that. For one, the abbreviation is a BBG, which is Big Bad Guy for Dungeons and Dragons. Whenever anybody's playing in their campaign, it's who's the big bad guy of the campaign. The other thing is, when I was young, I used to work at a kid's summer camp. I was a camp counselor. And when you're there, everybody gets camp nicknames. And mine was Panda Bear. And it stuck with me through my whole life. When I was playing music live, I actually had a whole panda outfit. I would wear a huge head and everything while drumming. Yeah. So it's been kind of my moniker my whole life is being the Panda Bear, and it just kind of came together with this game studio name. So combining Dungeons and Dragons with Panda Bear, I'm combining a lot of things with Dungeons and Dragons is what I'm realizing over time.
Hey, you got to go with what you know.
Yeah.
What you know. Work with what you know.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And here I thought it was just based on the gummy bear. like you were looking at the gummy bear and think, oh, okay.
It does kind of look like an adorable little gummy bear. Yeah. Did you ever? Okay. Random thought. You ever see the old cartoon, the Gummy Bears cartoon?
Oh yeah, the gummy bears.
Yeah.
Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. Yeah, stuck in my head, but just thought it was funny.
That's actually one of my wife's favorite cartoons. She told me the other day.
That's amazing.
I was amazing. What? And she's like, yeah. I was like, okay, that's cool. I guess.
You never hear that. I never ever heard anybody call it their favorites. That's great.
I know. That's what I blew my mind. That and the snap or Fraggle Rock. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Fraggle Rock. Wow.
Like, well, man, you're bringing back some old, way before my time. Stuff,
Sorry to age you, but I never heard of Fraggle Rock until an episode of Community made a joke about it, and I had to go look up what Fraggle Rock was.
I watched it as a child.
Oh.
I love that show. No, but especially so one thing too, I like to just kind of, I don't know if it's a question or not, but I thought was kind of cool. I just wanted is I was like, man, though I started playing your game, I was like, am I just gonna keep going up? Because normal Pac-Man, you're just like you just have the square corner, like you go nowhere. But then when it told me to hit right, I was like, oh snaps! When I actually changed it up, I thought that was a pretty cool little add on there. What was the reasoning behind that? Or was that just something you?
Yeah, so there's actually a game that I'm heavily inspired by. It's called Pacman 256, and it's on mobile phones. And Pacman 256 is kind of it's an endless runner Pac-Man, just always straight up. And it's a fun game, but it doesn't have a lot of substance to it. It's just going up through the maze, dodging ghosts, and always straight. And I was like, God, this game would be awesome if it had like a new hook to it, if you could go different directions. And so I just kind of wanted to take Pac-Man 256 and bring it to the next level. Now you got customizable gear. Now there's like a fun theme to the game. You're going left and right. When I was originally programming, I really wanted it to go like left, down, like every direction and change. But, you find fun things as a dev, limitations of the program engine you're using. And like, because like once I had one, it went up, it turned right, then it turned down, and it was going into the old maze that still existed. And I was like, I can't have that happen. That's so, now it's just left and right. But I wish I would have had some more time to do every direction, every which way.
I thought it was pretty cool because I literally was thinking the same thing. I'm like, am I just going to keep going up? And then it was like, go right. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I was like, oh, this is super cool. Especially how you added that extra element of the smoke or whatever the hell is stuff that's chasing you.
Yeah, the Lich's darkness. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes you panic even more. You're like,
exactly.
So how long did it take to make the game, like develop the game?
When it comes out, it'll be almost exactly 2 years it took me. So, it's been a 2-year project. I was really hoping to keep it to 1 year, but game devs notoriously terrible at timing. I'll tell you that. Originally, it was anytime you went into a pipe, the classic Pac-Man pipe takes you to the other side of the map. It actually used to bring you into a WarioWare style mini game, and that's where you would get upgrades. And there were silly ones like the duck flies over, you get to hit spacebar and poop on a zombie, or like it was just 5-second play Pong, one round of Pong really quick. But you got to rein in your ambitions a lot as a game dev, because I started to realize like I got to program 32 games instead of one game now. I got to make sure all of these games are polished and nice. And I also started to realize when you're hopping into mini games, it's kind of taking you out of the flow of what the craziness of Pac-Man Dungeons and Ducklings is. So, reining it in, keeping things nice and straightforward and hectic, and getting you in that flow state. That's what I wanted to go for.
So I guess you kind of like, as a game dev, if you want to like have very polished game, it takes longer than you expect, obviously. Like, kind of
definitely,
you kind of like lose, keep going into the loop, or like, oh, I want to make this part better. And then you kind of spend more time here, but then, oh, I forgot about the main part. And then you just keep going there. And then, oh, what if this cool feature is here? And then you just kind of like, it adds on. And then obviously kind of delays the schedule and all.
It gets referred to a lot as scope creep, where you just keep expanding your scope and it slowly gets out of control. And I think that's every game dev needs to understand their scope creep and rein it in. Like, because gosh, I mean, everybody has great ideas for games. I think every gamer, and it's like, of course you want to see this and this and this and get bigger and crazier, but you got to ship something out eventually. You got to finish it up and get some people playing it.
Right. So I know, go ahead, Anthony, you had something.
No, I was just curious because when you were talking about leveling, are the levels generated, or is it always going to be the same path?
Originally, it was procedurally generated, and it would be kind of, I had an algorithm that would make sure it would stay kind of like a Pac-Man maze, but I realized it took a lot of control away from me. I couldn't custom make things. I couldn't put in like little things I wanted to put in. So what ended up happening is I took a page out of Spelunky's dev book, and what Spelunky did was they created like 100, 200 pre-made chunks of a thing, and what the game would just put all the chunks together. So that's what I did is I got about 100 different maze chunks, and it's kind of randomly picking which ones based off of what zone you're in and kind of what's going on at the moment. So it's not procedurally generated, but it is randomized chunks. So it will feel, kind of different every time, but you're going to see parts where you're like, oh, I've been in this chunk a few times. I recognize this little spot here.
Okay.
Pretty sweet.
That's impressive. 100 separate chunks.
How long did that take? Just putting up the 100 different chunks.
Gosh, like originally it took I'd say maybe 2 weeks right away. I had all these chunks ready, and then you play test for a while and you're like, I got to redo every freaking maze. I got to go back and redo them all. So then it took another 2 weeks. And then as I was getting near the end of development, I was like, I kind of realized I got to redo them all one more time. So it ended up taking probably a month and a half of just making mazes and making sure they worked and making sure everything looked and connected together well.
If I had done that, I would have gone crazy.
Yeah, me too. That's what I was thinking. I'm like
waking up in the middle of the night, no more mazes. Oh God.
It was definitely one of those things where I'm like, I'll delay this, and it was like a procrastination thing. I knew I had to do it.
It's like he's actually playing the real life Maze Runner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Every day trying to map out the patterns.
Definitely. I'm glad that part of the game is behind me right now. I'll tell you that. I'm glad I'm done with those mazes.
Yeah. So, are you a part-time? Is it something that you do for part-time, or what is the deal? Because I realize especially for those who are doing this part-time, they don't get enough sleep, and we're worried.
Dev, this is part-time. I have a full-time job that I work at. And, after work, I kind of believe in this philosophy of what's called no 0 days, which is every day you have to put in at least 15 minutes into the game. And this doesn't mean I'm sitting down coding every day, 15 minutes. It means at least one day, if I'm on vacation or something, I spent 15 minutes just critically thinking about something, being like, this isn't working, just maybe in a notebook, I'll write down some thoughts, and that counts as not a 0 day anymore. So, it's being strict on just, hey, every day I got to do a little something, even if I'm totally burnt out, 5 minutes of just, what are some ideas I can write down on a page quick? It doesn't have to be programming. It doesn't have to be scouring the internet for, sound effects or whatever. Just something to keep your head thinking about the game for this long. But kind of what I came to realize is every dev has their strengths and weaknesses. Everybody's going to have their own unique path. There's no guidebook. This is how it's done. For me, a strength of mine was having the full-time job. So I could afford things like, I want to soup up Mama Duck. Let me commission an artist to make her look even better. Let's get some new hats on it and commission an artist to do this, because I at least have some income, while some devs, they got no income. They're just working. They have to learn the pixel art. They have to learn the music to get it through. So you really got to evaluate what are your personal strengths and kind of play to those.
It feels like, I don't know, it's probably similar with startup situation as well. I know a lot of back in the day, you just had to focus on the thing that you're creating all day, 24/7. But then if it's too much of it and you're not getting any income, there's you lose motivation and kind of get burnt out when it fails, if it doesn't work out the way you expected it. So I guess it's also kind of nice that you have some kind of income, and then some kind of things that's going on the side. So then you can actually have better, I don't know, space for creativity, or so that you can kind of focus it whenever you have time. So it's not particularly bad or anything nowadays.
Yeah. And kind of some advice I don't think I've ever heard that I wish people would understand is make some time to play video games with your friends every week. See, you can't just be totally absorbed in this, or the burnout's going to be worse than ever when it gets to it. So it's you really got to schedule. It's crazy, but like schedule a time to play, 4-player co-op Deep Rock Galactic coming up this weekend, or the new Enshrouded updates coming out. Let's do some survival craft, and like you got to take your mind off it every now and then too.
Yeah.
You literally sound like my best friend. Deep Rock Galactic Enshrouded. I was like, yeah, this sounds just like him.
Big in the survival crafter world. That's one day that's the dream game for me, is to make a big survival crafter, but they are massive projects of passion. So I'm building my way up to it.
Yeah.
I know one that I play a lot's 7 Days to Survive, and look how long it took for them to make a game where people didn't want to strangle them.
Oh yeah, that's a great game. I have a Reddit post of a base I made once, and I was like, it got 1,000 upvotes on Reddit. All this fake internet karma. Like, oh, it's big for me.
I'm the best.
Yeah. Yeah, and then adding on to the thing you said, John, I don't remember which dev it was, and then we asked them like what games you have been playing, and then they said like the buggy version of the game that they're developing. that's the game they have been playing constantly. I guess you kind of need some time off from the project as well, to have like you obviously like probably like 99.9% of the game devs started as a game dev because they love gaming, obviously, and they don't want to.
You have to, I think.
Yeah, you have to kind of like enjoy building or what you're doing. So I guess that's also very important. Like you don't have to spend like 10, 20 hours a day playing that game, but maybe like one round of whatever game or just like 30 minutes of something. I guess you can kind of learn from that game too, I guess.
And definitely, you got to take your mind off it. You're going to come back with fresh ideas. And I'm almost saying contradictory things here, because before I'm saying no 0 days, and now I'm saying play some video games, But it's really this concept of even just thinking critically about the game. That's a no 0 day. That means you worked on it a little bit today. Even just making one post on Twitter today about the game, you did something with it. Like don't just let it go to nothing, but also don't let it consume your life. You're kind of doing this tightrope balance.
So how have you been building like a relationship with the fans or the people who are waiting to play your game? Do you have like Discord channel? I know you have Twitter page, but
definitely. I'd say, it's, as I said before, like it's interesting that the different paths in life in my past have kind of led up to this in a way. Like, thank goodness that during COVID, I decided, hey, let's start a streaming community to keep my friends together. And that community grew to like I felt like a decent stream size every time we had like double-digit viewers for a while. And so it's like, thank God I did that, because I had this Discord community already pre-ready. And when I was done streaming, I let everybody know like, hey, I'm done streaming just like fun, but this is my next thing. I'm making a game now, and I'm going to stream once a month programming instead of, my bi-weekly playing games and having some beers with the guys type streaming. So I had a tiny community, I would say, off of that. But while making the game, that was one of the biggest challenges for me. Marketing, building the community. I think every game dev might agree, where it's like, all of a sudden you realize like, I have to become a marketer as well. Even I never wanted to do that. So what I did was just, a weekly post on Reddit, a weekly post on social media, try to play some games with some people in my Discord every week. And that's how you build a community. Play games with your community. They're awesome people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think by streaming, I know these two are also streamers as well. So like you kind of meet different like people that you've never met, or they can give you some insider ideas, especially if you're a game dev streaming as well. So they might say, "Oh, I think this would be a cool idea," and then you might actually take that idea. I guess.
Definitely. And kind of the guy who does voices in the game, I met him through streaming completely.
Oh yeah,
we're great friends now, and he's like my number one tester now. He's like coming back to me every week, like, hey, you thought about adding this? You thought about doing this, changing this? I'm like, yes, no, yes. And I'm like, what great ideas. He's been such a good help. Met him completely through the stream. I've never met him in real life, but wonderful person. We play games when we can now. We're both pretty busy with, he streams a lot. I program a lot. But yeah, you never know who you're going to meet through streaming and who's going to be supportive of you and who's going to be your number one fan.
No. So any go ahead, Zach. Oh, any suggestion you guys want to give John as streamers, Anthony and Zach?
Yeah, definitely. If you, yeah.
What are your
Go ahead,
What are your
Zach.
big tips on growing your streaming audience? How do you guys do it?
Oh, I just stream now, but back in the day, I used to put a lot more work into it. I would say YouTube content creating on YouTube is actually more my favorite genre, just because it feels like you're like you create something and then you put it out there and you set a timer on it and you back up and hope somebody watches it. As opposed when I was a streamer, right? Like I would get, 15, 21 something people come in and watching me, like legit people, not bots or anything. And talking to me, and it was cool. Like, you get excited and you get some subscribers and like, oh, I'm making this money. But I never really felt as good as I did when I would drop a video and it would make maybe 30 to 100, views. Even though that's small for YouTube, it was still like pretty awesome to me that, and then people could leave comments and say, hey, you suck. And you're like, hey, thank you for
Thanks for the
sponsoring me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you came out. Good looks. No, but yeah, I don't know. Content creating has definitely created a world for. I wouldn't have met George and Anthony if it wasn't for it. Because George approached me and asked me to be a part of making content for Minimap, and I said, yeah. And then I gave him my soul. And so then
I gotta say, Minimap, what a great idea for a site, by the way. I love Minimap.
Yeah, then I think he was watching one of my streams and he's like, or something like that, and he's like, why don't you make a podcast? And I was like, I would do a podcast. And he's like, let's do a podcast. So here we are.
Yeah,
it's probably one of my favorite content I make is actually this podcast. So
what about you, Anthony? What do you love about streaming? What gets you hyped up for it?
It's like one of those things, like when you wake up one day and like, okay, I'm gonna game something, I'm gonna pick something to play, but then you think, am I playing for myself, or should I play with others, or should I share the game? And then if you see it and then you play it, then of course, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this game is amazing, I'm addicted, I need to tell more to other people. So that's bring you the prompts of streaming the game to others, so others could get addicted as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, as a streamer, you are bringing like information to people. Like, do they want to play this game or not? And they get to watch you do it. It's great.
Yeah, and the actual questions and everything.
I was saying, and Anthony's stream always has what games he's playing like already in the chat at the top. Like, I'm playing, this is the game, and I was like, oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, because most of my games that I stream, I always promote the games on channels and everything, the links, so people could check out the links.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that. Not a lot of streamers do that, so I think that's pretty cool. You do that.
That is really nice. Yeah.
I think it feels like, I'm not streaming or anything, but like, how like you watch a great TV show and then you just want to like tell someone that this is so great they have to watch it. But like that's what happened to me. Like, after I watched Breaking Bad, I just wanted to tell my wife, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. And then, like, I hope you really like it as much as I do. But then I guess that's kind of similar.
You got her to watching Breaking Bad.
Bro, that took me a whole year to finish the series because she fell asleep after like 5 minutes of every episode.
No.
Like, I've seen you dabble though a little bit in content creating. I'll just say that, and you did it. So. I didn't think you were bad at it. I thought you were pretty good at it. Yeah. Very personable.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of like how streaming is. Like, you're playing a game and then you kind of want other people to enjoy the game as much as you do, I guess. And
all right, George, what TV show do you really want to bring to our attention right now? I feel like there's got to be one you're watching.
It has to be Breaking Bad, but I think recently I've been watching a TV show called Shrinking on Apple TV.
Shrinking, okay.
That was pretty good. It's I don't remember. I'm really terrible at names, but that's the guy who played Lily's boyfriend in How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, totally. God, I can't remember. Jason Segel or something like that.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, you're right. The big goofy looking guy.
Yeah, and then him and oh gosh. Okay, you guys are gonna hate me. Who's the Indiana Jones, the original one, the old guy?
Harrison
I was
Ford?
gonna-
Harrison Ford,
as soon
yes.
as I was
All
going to say
right, thank
Charlton
you.
Heston.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford's-
Harrison Ford.
The original Indiana
Yeah,
Jones.
those two were good. But yeah,
Get your hands off of me.
it's pretty fun show.
Well, I gotta spread the word of Don to Don. I've been watching that. Great
Oh, everybody
anime.
loves Don to Don.
I'm
Yeah, Dan to
obsessed.
Dan.
It's so good. Oh,
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about that show too. Like
We have to like in my community, in my Discord. I'm like, have you seen the show yet? On the last episode, everybody's like either yes or no, and if it's a no for somebody, we're like,
You
all right, well,
banned.
let us know when you do, so we could talk about it because we're pins and needles here.
Yeah.
I have a question for George.
okay, I'm nervous.
No, so you try to get your wife to watch Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Did you get her to watch Ted Lasso also?
No, actually, my wife is not a big American TV show person. She actually doesn't watch too much TV shows at all, like TV at all. So she watches some like there's like a recent, I don't know what it's called in English. It's like a white black chef that it's like it was like a big TV show in Korea, like on Netflix. They had like hundreds
Is it
of different.
is it a cooking one?
Yeah, the cooking
content?
one. The cooking one. She loved that one.
She likes reality shows.
Yeah, so that one was she told me about it. Like she was like, "Oh, this is really good. I love it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not really into those. I'm not really into like Korean shows too much. I guess like I'm more into American shows. That's why I've been watching Ted Lasso and Breaking Bad, all that. But
Did you
yeah,
do Better Call Saul?
Better Call Saul. Yeah, I actually recently
loved
finished it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I was like, how can they follow up Breaking Bad?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
They nailed it. Wow,
They
I
nailed
thought I was
it.
very impressed.
Yeah, but I mean the El Camino one was okay. It was like
Yeah, that's the least on the Breaking Bad.
yeah,
ladder
yeah,
for
that
me,
was like
but
okay, they did okay, but sorry, yeah, really off topic. But anyways, yeah. So back to Dungeons and Ducklings.
That's our thing.
Yeah. So 10 days. Are you like how are you feeling? Just like 10 days before launch, or
nervous. I'm feeling nervous. I'll tell you that definitely. It's wild. Is like you announce the launch date, and as I announced, I'm like, I got like 4 more things I have to program. As of now, I'm done with the programming. So it's all marketing now. It's all like getting clips of things, trying to get it on Reddit, trying to get the word out about it. It's marketing's is a hard beast. I don't quite know how to tame it. I'm nervous. I want it to be successful enough where I could either, look at possibly adding a co-op mode to it or developing the game a little more.
Mhm.
And then my next game I'm going to be working on, I already got a title for it. Animal Train is the working title, and it's going to be 4-player co-op on a train together. And if any of you played Ship of Fools? Ship of Fools.
Oh, I remember that one. Yes.
I'm heavily inspired by that. And that one, it's top down. You're 2 people on a ship together, and you have to move the turret back and forth and shoot people. I'm kind of expanding that to 4 people on a train, and you're developing and upgrading your train. You have to stop, get out, mine resources while other people are on the turrets helping you defend.
Ooh.
So I'm very excited to get working on a game that, because I love playing games with friends, co-op, cooperative. I can't wait for my next game to be
trustworthy guardian, right?
Exactly. I can't. My next game, I'm so excited for it to be a couch co-op sit together. But if Dungeons and Ducklings does really well, I'm going to take some time to make it at least 2-player couch co-op. You get to sit down and play with 1 other friends. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm nervous about that.
Ship of Fields looks super cute. I love the
I
cartoon
did
style.
I did play the game on the Steam Deck, so it did work well on the Steam Deck.
Oh, perfect. I had someone streaming. I had someone randomly on my stream was like, I'll try it on Steam Deck for you. I go, sure, I don't own one. And they came back, they're like, works pretty well on Steam Deck. I was like, sweet. That's great.
Even though Steam Deck doesn't have that check mark, you didn't get that check mark.
Yeah, I gotta look into that. You gotta jump through some hoops for it, and because I don't have a Steam Deck, it made it a little difficult to do that.
I'm about to say, it sounds like though that it works. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like always so hard to get a check mark for Steam Deck.
Yeah, so like it's in the store, it's like partial Steam Deck, but I think it works pretty well on Steam Deck from what I've seen. So we'll see if I can get that check mark going forward.
Are you planning on go ahead, Zach. Were you saying something?
Oh no, I was just gonna say I feel like there should be a whole room of just scientists from Steam going, does it work? And just get that Steam Deck in every game.
But yeah, are you planning to release Dungeons and Ducklings in like different consoles, like platforms as well? Or-
Definitely. Yeah. So, well, the plan is it's coming out just Windows right away. I already am working on the Apple and Linux version of it, so that'll be out shortly afterwards. But the big step, it's kind of, unfortunately, it's dependent on the success of the game. I feel like it's the perfect Nintendo Switch game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what I
too.
want to get it on. Yeah, I think it's family friendly game, very easy portable. I'd love to get it on there, but the sad reality of dev world is like, I need a little bit of funding to be able to just take the time and do that, to be able to iron it out. So if the game's successful, it's going on Nintendo Switch. If not, I'm working on my 4-player co-op game.
I mean, the Dungeon and Ducklings also will be a fun co-op game too, if you can kind of like beat the boss together and all that.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Like on Nintendo Switch, you can see like two kids playing together on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that would warm my heart up. I had I went to 3 conventions, and I think the most heartwarming moment I had is there's like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old sitting down in front of 3 monitors, all playing the game, and I was like, I can't believe I'm bringing kids joy. This is the dream. I went up to the mom. I'm like, do I have your permission to just take a picture and like post this on social media? Because this is awesome.
Yeah, and like how kids are the most honest ones too. Like if the game is not fun, they're like, oh, I don't like this game, and they just like walk away.
I think the kid literally within 5 minutes he goes, I thought this was gonna suck, but it was all right. I was like, oh, that's great, thank you.
And that's what you call an honest review.
Yeah,
exactly.
You need to make a trailer where it's like one kid at Comic-Con. I got this to suck, but it didn't.
Like the Hollywood ones with at the end, like they said, like 9 out of 10 or something.
I thought this was gonna suck, but it didn't. It just float by the screen.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, if you want an honest review, just get a kid to play it. That's about it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I got to bring it to like some school conventions or something, like in the corner, and say like, oh, if you guys try this out, give me like honest reviews and like give you the most.
Was Pacman ever in school? I'm just thinking about it.
In school? No, I don't think so. Not my school.
But these days now, like all these games are in educational, approved by teachers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I was about to say, typing class, if we got done fast enough, I got to kill stuff on Doom. or Wagon, or the not Yellow Brick Road, but the Oregon Trail.
I'd go to like newgrounds.com if I got done with typing class quick enough, try to play a game on Newgrounds. That was my school experience.
The teacher would be like, if you guys get done fast, it was the old Doom where it was just like, well, it's just a maze with a machine gun.
I've seen videos of educational Minecraft. It's just wild how far games have come, even in the educational space. Where the educational Minecraft, you're like combining elements in the periodic table to make things on your little crafting bench. It's so fascinating.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah, because I don't know about in the US, but like especially in Korea, like game was considered to be like harmful to kids because it like kind of like steals the focus from them from studying, I guess, back in the day, like 90s or 2000s. But then like it is very interesting like how these days like a lot of like I think it's like most like at least in middle school you have to take computer science class. Like that's a big leap from what I experienced, because back in the day, like all those PC cafes in Korea, like those were like considered harmful, and like parents didn't want them near school because people would skip classes to go there and play games, and people were allowed to smoke inside and all that. So it was like very bad.
I think, gaming's come a long way, but I think that's still an issue it runs into, even definitely in America, where it's like viewed as a kind of a negative thing for kids. But, it is making paths, I think, and showing it can be educational and help children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a huge industry. Like you can't just like ignore it. I know it's like over $180 billion.
I think it's the biggest entertainment industry nowadays. It's bigger than movies.
Yeah,
it's way bigger than movies.
It actually makes more than movies and music put together.
Yes.
Wow.
So like it's astronomical. So And you know how that money's going to go back to whatever government you're living in. So I'm sure every government wants a little piece of that pie.
Yeah,
Totally.
You
totally.
know?
That's why Valve is so successful, I guess. They're making so much money.
We're
Probably.
like,
Yeah.
They
So
know, they know how to do it.
yeah, they do.
I mean, we even have little places here in America. It's called Code Ninjas. Have you heard of it? It's a place you can drop your kids off where they can come learn how to code, and they learn how to code like Roblox games and stuff like that.
Oh,
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pay money like parents. You pay of course you're the parents. You pay the money. It's not like the kids are paying the money, right?
Yeah.
But you drop them off, and like you can do half day or a whole day during the summer, or like on the weekend, and they go in and they learn how to code, and then you come pick them up. We did it for my son. He was like, it was pretty cool, but I already knew all that. And I was like, all right, get in the car.
Oh, you just wasted
Okay,
some money,
genius.
Dad. That was a waste of money, Dad. I already knew all these.
I already knew it.
Yeah, but and also in Korea, since esports is very big, they have a lot of esports academies too. Like these professional esports teams, they have their own like academies where they it's kind of like how NBA also has their like NBA, I don't know, like academy where they kind of start drafting those young ones and try to like make them become one of those NBA players. It's kind of like similar thing is going on in Korea. I know Genji has a big academy in Korea. A lot of little kids come in and like learn how to play League of Legends. Probably get like, I don't know what they teach.
Get them toxic young. Get them into League of Legends.
Yeah, because how like after the success of Faker and all these big name gamers, they get like millions of dollars for salary. So they're like, oh, I want to become a professional esports player.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know if it's necessarily true or not, but I watched. I think it was on Netflix or something. There was actually a special about how big esports is in Korea, where they actually have houses where people coach. They just walk behind people and coach them while they're playing the game and yelling at them. It's like, but a lot of them were saying, and George, you can tell me if this is true or not, but a lot of them were saying that it's like their way of becoming, if they get good enough at the game, it's their way of kind of bringing themselves out of poverty and stuff in some places. So they're just like really, because I hate to say it, but if you look at almost every Overwatch team, like at least last time I checked, it was a while ago, there was almost the whole roster was Korean. It was almost all Korean people. And I was like, well,
I guess esports is pretty big in Korea. And I know like Faker wasn't too well off. He grew up with his grandma. And I heard his grandma can play better than most of the.
Oh, you better watch out. There's some really good. You ever saw the grandpa who's a sniper in Call of Duty?
Yes.
He's so good. He was like a real life sniper.
Yes,
he was. He was in Navy, but you should see his Battlefield 2 stuff, or his Battlefield 2042 stuff, because he shows people like how to set the marks and stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Just over there sniping. I was like, that's messed up, man.
I hope when I'm old, I'm like him. I'm playing games on a stream or something when I'm 80.
You know what's funny is I typed in Faker because I don't know who this person is, because you've said him so many times. First thing popped up was this kid from Seattle, Seoul. Shang Hyuk. Did I say that right?
Shang Hyuk is his real name. Yep.
That's
Wow.
him.
This is the first thing popped up on my thing.
Yep. I think I heard he's like the most paid sports or athlete, if you consider esports player athletes, but he's the most paid athlete in Korea.
Actually, I can be now since.
If you consider NASCAR a sport, you gotta consider esports.
Yeah.
Man, NASCAR, you're still physically there, but you have a bladder, a fake bladder to pee in while you sit there and drive. Like it's not like which come to esports soon.
We'll just wait to the Olympics, because now they added video games to the Olympics.
Yeah, that's true. They did.
What? Whoa!
They approved it.
Yeah, they did that for Asian Cup at least. They started it in like Asia. I think like Street Fighter is coming there, right, for Olympics or something. Some of the
next Olympics is going to have esports. I didn't know what games though.
It'd be better than breakdancing.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, I know she retired. The break.
Yeah, I feel bad for her.
Yeah, I kind of.
Hey, she gave it her best.
She was made fun of so much, I guess.
Yeah, too much.
Too much.
She shouldn't have been there, but
Yeah,
there's the whole wrath of the internet was on her. I feel bad.
I mean, at least she's famous now.
Hey, listen, without her doing that, there wouldn't be so much fun, though. If I was her, I'd look at a different light, like, oh, look at all the people having joy from my dancing.
I think it did bring a lot of people joy in a positive way.
Yeah, I think it was a positive way too.
I was laughing, and whenever I laugh, that's all that matters to me. So, yeah.
And I know Anthony was also trying to become a professional StarCraft player at one point.
At one point.
Yeah.
Oh,
What happened, Anthony? You break your fingers?
No.
Wrist
No.
injury.
It's hard to beat the other Koreans.
And you wait, so hold on. You're trying to be a professional StarCraft player, and then you duped us into playing against you when you come down here. Like,
Oh, I love that. StarCraft 1 or 2? Were you
thanks,
going for?
George. Thanks for telling me now.
Oh,
so
one.
Anthony wipes me up.
Okay.
I'm like, I'm good.
I have a funny story about StarCraft in Korea. Like, people still play StarCraft 1 like in Korea a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then if you go to BattleNet, like all of their the titles for all the rooms, it's like, oh, only beginners, only newbies. And then if you go in, they're like murder you like
In seconds.
crazy. And I heard the reason why the people like type, newbies only, beginners only, is because if they say only those experts come in, like people who are crazy expert will come in and like destroy you. That's why they just like name all the time the rooms like newbies only, please.
Mm-hmm.
So
When I was doing
Wait till
StarCraft 2 ranked, whenever I saw Korean characters come up, I was like, I'm screwed. I lose. Damn it.
This is a good game.
was
I'm
very
getting
good.
out of here.
But it was an honor to lose against a Korean in StarCraft.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a little better every time, so.
That was actually, and I've said this before, but that was actually what many consider to be the very first scene for esports was StarCraft 2 in Korea, because they built a whole arenas and stuff around them and
Yeah.
stuff. It was just like a huge big deal for just two people to go at each other.
Yep.
And school. StarCraft
Yep.
School Academy.
Yes, they did have that.
I didn't know
did
they
have
had that. That's crazy.
StarCraft
I'm-
Academy. They teach you all the skills and the rules and everything for the tournaments.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was pretty big. I guess there's like a
Means-
foundation of all the esports. Well, I don't know about the world, but like especially in particularly in Korea, that's like the foundation.
Yeah.
Of,
That's a lot.
I
The only
mean,
time
yeah.
I mean, we used to have like arcade stuff back in the day. I really don't know.
Yeah.
but there's always been
I
fighting game stuff.
It is. Well, Sparring Game is still esports. I mean, but other games that we used to play in the arcade, they all became like not esport, but more like Guinness World Record books, trying to beat the fastest time. You remember
Yeah.
like the person who completed Pacman in 3 hours and 28 minutes with the highest score in the world? It was like 3
Wow.
million or something.
Very recently, this year, there was that kid that beat Tetris. Like,
yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's it.
I
Yeah.
remember that. Oh,
So much
And
stress.
I thought there was no ending in Tetris.
Me too. Yeah, no kidding.
there's ending.
Well, the Atari, so the Pac-Man version of Atari, the score actually flips over at a point. So you can't get to that score on the Atari, the 2600 version of Atari's Pac-Man. I know, because I was like just jamming, and my mom's like, "Dinner's ready," and I'm like, and then my score went 0-0-0-0, and I was like, "That's it." Like, I was like, "Whatever, I'm gonna go eat my pizza."
That was your mom hacking the game to get you to go eat dinner.
She's
all
like,
right.
"Go get your food."
He was
sweetie."
actually a programmer. Yeah.
That was back when you had to actually
yeah.
use
So I
the-
think one day, I guess Dungeons and Ducklings will also have like speed running or Guinness
That-
World Record, all that.
That would blow my mind to see anybody speed run a game I made. That'd be crazy. I can't remember what YouTube channel, but they do interviews of devs watching the professional speedrunners beat their game, and it is such a joy to watch. Yeah,
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah.
there'll be a dev like, "Oh, they can't get through this," and then they shoot through the ceiling, and they're 5 levels ahead, and they're like, "Oh, what?"
Have they done a speed loading or a speed run thing recently in a while?
I mean, they've been doing speedrun all the time.
I mean, there's always like a channel that does.
Oh, I don't think
speedruns
I've
and all that.
heard of them for a bit. Those used to be pretty
And-
dope.
Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate 3 had the speed run to romance one of your companions who could do it the fastest.
There's some
I mean,
crazy
they had-
categories.
Yeah, you could just make the challenges up yourself. I mean, they did it all. They were there all the time at Elder Ring. You remember?
Well, I mean, like they.
Oh, yeah, Elden
remember
Ring
they used
was
to have big. I would say they used to have a big arena and stuff for it sometimes, and they can
I
make a
know,
whole show
yeah.
out of it.
Why not? They just do videos and streams, and then you just see them
Yeah.
with the timer on top, and then you start them going by, and then you see them zoop in to the game.
Have you ever seen the ones where people will record someone else's speed run, and then they'll be doing it, but they're not really the one doing it, and then the person who did the speed run originally is like, "Wait, no, that's my speed run." Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen the cheaters like that, but that's
No,
wild.
yeah, I watched the thing on it where these people are catching all these speedrunners, these people stealing their footage, even in like Call of Duty and stuff of epic games, and then acting like they were playing, and then people are like, that looks familiar," and they would
a
like
lot of-
go on.
A lot of speedrunners, they now show the controller and you can see the buttons they press on the stream just to
Right.
avoid that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that. That's cool.
Yeah. So, I think.
Well, now
yeah. Go ahead.
let's say now that we know your next project was going to be, I was going to ask you if you're going to try to do another retro game, but
So all co-op going forward. I really love couch co-op games. I think they got to be brought back in a bigger capacity. And in a way, Dungeons and Ducklings was a huge learning experience for me to know the whole process, making a complete game, getting it on storefronts, getting marketing out there, and it's really setting me up to make some couch co-op games in the future. I'm very excited.
All right. I think it's kind of like time to wrap up. So I think I think Dungeons and Ducklings will do just fine. I think. Looks pretty.
Thank you
fun.
very much.
Yeah.
Thank you all for having me on here. This was awesome. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
we like having you.
Yeah, I love the music, so I'm just gonna be jamming that music while I work today. So
Perfect.
thank
I got
you,
it. It's up
Richard.
on YouTube if you haven't found it, by the way. I got the whole playlist is on YouTube.
Are you going to put it on repeat?
Yes, I'm gonna put it on repeat. I'm definitely putting that on repeat. So yeah. So the game is gonna come out in about 10 days. So if you haven't wishlisted, go play the demo. Demo is out, so to play the demo and see if you actually like the game, and yeah, just buy the game when it comes out. And wish you all the best.
No, thank you very much. I think you'll love it if you play it. It's for everybody.
Yes.
I
Even
thought it
5,
was a lot
6,
of
and
fun.
7-year-old kids said, "I thought this was gonna be bad, but then it's okay." So
That's
I thought it was
quote on
going to be
the box.
horrible, but I liked it.
yeah, that has to be a quote somewhere. That has to be printed somewhere, like
Yeah, I should do that. That's a good idea.
or maybe like for a T-shirt or something. I don't know.
That's
But yeah.
better than not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
With a picture of them 3 playing the game. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you for coming. And well, we'll probably keep talking on Discord.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you all for
Of
coming.
course.
Forget
And,
me.
Zach is gonna cry, and don't forget us.
I always cry.
All right. See
I
you
mean,
guys.
testosterone. No, don't cry, dear boys.
Strong men cry, okay?
Yes.
What?
Yes, they
Where?
do.
Where's Strongman crying? Oh, I mean,
Especially
you're
in
right.
video games. If you cry in video games, you are a strong man.
Yes.
you're crying.
All right. Thank you for coming, and see you guys later. And thank you for watching, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.
See ya.
Mm.
Bye, Ocadios. Me.